The Peter Schiff Show.
I'm not in favor of people doing drugs. Right? I don't want people to do drugs. I just recognize the fact that the war on drugs doesn't stop people from doing drugs. Remember in Ron Paul's, one of those earlier debates, Ron Paul said, how many of you would do heroin if it were legal? I'm not doing heroin, not because it's illegal, but because I don't want to do it. I mean, if I wanted to do heroin, I could get some. It's not like the laws are going to stop me. So I don't want to do it because I know it's wrong to do it. It's not because the government is preventing me from doing it. But the problem is the people that are doing heroin are doing it anyway. But the fact that it's illegal means they have to buy it from a criminal. They have to buy it from a gangster. And because they have to do that, and because the gangster is operating outside the law, it costs a lot of money. And because it's so expensive, now the heroin addict has to go and rob my house in order to afford to buy the heroin, when if it was legal, at least he wouldn't have to steal from me. At least he could buy his heroin without stealing from me or other people. And in the meantime, who is he buying it from? He's buying it on the streets, corrupting our youth in the inner cities. Wouldn't it be better if he could buy it with a prescription, in a hospital or a doctor's office or something like that? I mean, that'd be a lot better. And of course, the drugs would be a lot purer. I mean, one of the big problems is all the impurities that it's cut with. I mean, the addicts are in much worse shape because they're ingesting or using illegal heroin. It would be a lot better, if they used a pure legal heroin. And of course, if somebody had to get a prescription to go to a doctor to get heroin, at least the doctor could try to talk you out of it. Because why do you want to use this? Of course, the pusher doesn't want to talk you out of it. When you're buying it on the streets, they do everything they can to cultivate that addiction, because that's the source of their profit. So, but the problem is that when you're not tough on drugs by saying we want zero tolerance, war on drugs, the spin is that that you're in favor of drugs, that you want people to do drugs. No, it's just the opposite. But again, it's just like the liberal policies on all the social policies, like the minimum wage law, right? If you're against the minimum wage law, you want workers to be exploited. You want people to earn small amounts of money. You don't care about people. The people that say I want a minimum wage law, yeah, it all sounds great. Yes, we're gonna make sure that everybody gets paid at least a certain amount of money, but they don't connect the dots and realize that how much harm the law does. Well, it's the same thing with the war on drugs, and I don't know why more conservatives who can understand the problems with the minimum wage law don't understand the problems with the drug laws. They don't understand that by the war on drugs doesn't end the drug problem. It actually compounds it and makes it a criminal problem. And, of course, a lot of the problems at the border, a lot of the people who are so anti-immigration, get tough on immigrants, one of the big problems with violence on our borders is because of the drug laws and the drug profits that are available if you from there. So if we legalize drugs, a lot of these border violence problems that people are so against in the Republican Party who want to get tough on immigration, a lot of those problems would go away. But they can't see that. They can't get beyond the idea that somehow if we legalize it, we're condoning it and we're sending a message to our kids. No, we're not. Again, when the Republicans, conservatives, believe in individual responsibility, they believe that the families should be able to make decisions for themselves and their kids without government. Well, why is it different for drugs? Why don't we trust American parents to tell their kids not to do drugs? I mean, just because something is legal doesn't mean you should do it. I mean, there are things that are legal that are not good for you. I mean, we don't tell our kids to just eat nothing but junk food. We want them to eat healthy food. Yeah, it's perfectly legal to eat nothing but candy and ice cream and drink soda pop, and that's not illegal. But we don't do it. We don't encourage our kids to do that. There are a lot of things that we try to instill good values in our kids, and drugs would be no exception to that.
Senator, are you suggesting that heroin and prostitution are an exercise of liberty?
Well, I probably never use those words. You put those words someplace, but yes, in essence, if I leave it to the states, it's going to be up to the states. Up until this past century, for over 100 years they were legal. What you're inferring is, you know what? If we legalized heroin tomorrow, everybody's going to use heroin. How many people here would use heroin if it was legal? I bet nobody would put the hand, oh yeah, I need the government to take care of me. I don't want to use heroin, so I need these laws.
I never thought heroin would get applause here in South Carolina.